My first Pokemon game was Pokemon Diamond, and it was a gift from my mom after my first communion, which I have no recollection of whatsoever, but what I do remember is a family lunch at Olive Garden and opening a gift bag with Pokemon Diamond in my living room. Immediately after opening up the game, I threw it in my DS, and let me tell you, I went through like 4 of these things. The hinges kept breaking off them, I have no idea why. Seeing Twin Leaf Town for the first time with the 3D houses was mind-boggling. I had to show my brother, as up to this point, I'd only ever watched him play Fire Red and Sapphire on our Game Boy player for the GameCube. I was hooked. I couldn't stop playing Pokemon Diamond. I was glued to my DS screen all day. In 2nd grade, I remember sneaking my DS in my backpack and I would pretend to go grab something from it, but instead I would actually just play the game like 10 seconds at a time. I remember trading, battling, and mining with my friends, discovering all kinds of secrets we would have never thought possible. Hell, I discovered Rotom in a gaming magazine sitting on a shelf in a CVS down the Cape, and I remember thinking to myself, what the hell is Rotom or Shaman or Arceus? None of my friends, including myself, even thought Giratina was real. We thought they were fake YouTube videos, and one day I was wandering through Turnback Cave and boom, I ran into him. We were in awe. I still have the same case and cartridge to this day. Booting up the game today, even my original save file from May 6th, 2007 is still there. Granted, I AR hacked the shit out of this thing. A few years later, Platinum released, and the Playground kids constantly checked in with each other to see how far everyone was progressing. So much so that it kind of turned into a race. I won. Obviously, after playing Sinnoh to death, I couldn't just stop there. There were 3 other regions I've never played. I picked my first Charmander in Leaf Green, and I remember playing the game for the first time at a TGI Fridays during a family lunch. I got Pokemon Silver one Christmas, but it didn't save properly, so I never really got to play Johto until Soul Silver released, where I got a cool Lugia statue and a Pokewalker. One night, my mom took me to GameStop to get Pokemon Ruby, which she could have sworn we'd gotten before, but I had no clue my brother had ever owned Ruby. We kept quiet and bought another copy anyway, since he'd lost it. I could go on with stories and memories for hours, but let's keep moving forward. When Black and White came out, I thought I was Mr. High and Mighty being all, oh, the new Pokemon are so lame, only the first 4 gens are so good, like the edgy middle schooler I was. I still bought and played it anyway. And years later, I remember really getting into Pokemon Black too. Pokemon Y, I remember being a bit of a drag and a force to get through for me. I didn't like the look of the characters or really the game in general, so I beat it and never looked back. To this day, I couldn't tell you anything of what happened in that game. Pokemon Moon was in the same boat initially, to the point where I didn't even bother finishing it. Years later, I gave it another shot, and I really enjoyed it, and I did end up finishing it, so much so that I impulse bought Ultra Sun and then beat that game immediately after beating Moon. I have this weird thing where I won't touch a Pokemon game for like years, and then all of a sudden I'll just beat like 5 of them in a row in a couple months. That brings us to this monstrosity. Pokemon Sword and Shield for the Nintendo Switch. Where do I begin? Obviously, I was looking forward to a new Pokemon game, but unfortunately was incredibly disappointed throughout nearly the entire game. Since the intended focus of this video is to critique Pokemon Sword and Shield, let's add some structure. Let's take a look at the gameplay, music, graphics, character design, and Pokemon design of Sword and Shield compared to other previous regions. Well, mostly compared to the first 4, because that's what I know best. Maybe a little bit of Gen 5. I don't even remember 6 or 7 that much. This was a bad idea, wasn't it? So the gameplay of Sword and Shield was pretty vanilla. It was a Pokemon game, for sure. The main gimmick of the game was the Gigantamax forms, which were kinda cool. Most of the cases, they're just bigger. Sometimes they actually had a new form, but it is just a gimmick. I found the core gameplay of Pokemon Sword and Shield to be slow, boring, too linear, and a bit of a drag to get through. The one thing I did really like about it though was how they handled gym leaders, and how they were actually fought in real stadiums in front of an audience. Obviously, with a newer game, we're going to have better music. It's obviously not as bit-crushed as the old ones, but to be honest, I don't really remember any of it. Overall, I'm sure the music was fine, definitely didn't stand out. Besides the gym leader theme, that's an absolute banger. To be honest, I'm not too much of a stickler for graphics. Hell, I played this game more than anything else. As a kid, I thought these were electrical wires, but it might just be a rug, I really don't know. But when it comes to Sword and Shield, with its so-called high-quality animations, I can't help but be annoyed. I mean, Pokemon Stadium, a game that came out over a decade beforehand, had better animations. Granted, they had less Pokemon to work with, but even something as simple as getting hit looked better. There were unique attack animations, and the sound effects were way cooler. Now, didn't that look fun? I mean, Flareon sand on you. Now, there's the infamous tree. When Sword and Shield were first being shown off, fans locked onto one scene showing a tree in the wild area, and to put it nicely, they were not impressed. I can't blame them. I mean, if we're using trees as a standard for a game's graphics quality, Breath of the Wild's trees and forests look way nicer, and it's 2 years older on the same hardware. When I walked up to the first fruit tree and saw it spawn in like 10 feet in front of me, I was livid. Like, come on, really? Sword and Shield's trees are more comparable to Ocarina of Time, again, a game that came out over 3 console generations ago. I remember hearing somewhere, maybe at Did You Know Gaming or something, that Sword and Shield wasn't being taken as seriously by Game Freak because they expected the Switch to flop. But after its massive success, they had to rush it for a holiday release. Thankfully, with today's technology, you can add patches and updates to improve your game post-release, but they really haven't even done that either. Online is still really laggy, people just spawn in and out at random, and the frame rate suffers as a result. Breath of the Wild received a few updates to improve the frame rate, but in areas such as by the Great Deku Tree, you still see stuttering. But at least the effort was there. The Sword and Shield team don't seem to have the drive to even fix minor aspects of the game to this day. Now, in my opinion, if every area had been as unique and interesting as the glowy mushroom town, this game would have been so much better. But unfortunately, the majority of the overworld is pretty plain and bland. Also, they didn't even animate the cutscenes towards the end of the game. These are just still frames. This is coming from a multi-billion-dollar franchise. The character design in Sword and Shield was very mixed. I feel like the gym leaders were actually very well designed. They were pretty memorable with their unique personalities and their colorful looks to match their Pokemon types. Also, Ball Guy is S tier in every way, shape, and form, and is probably the best thing to ever come out of this video game. The boss was like your pretty standard looking boss. He wasn't as cool as Giovanni, but like, it was better than the dude in Gen 7. But Swordward and Shieldbird are the most awful designs I have ever seen in a game. When I first saw these two, I just felt anger and rage. And I don't think that's what you want people to feel when you introduce them to a new character just by looking at them. I don't know, maybe that was the intention. I'm not actually sure what's worse, Team Yell or these two. Team Yell was god-awful. Like, Team Rocket were thugs. Team Aqua and Magma were like cool, villainous, and they had like a world domination plan. I mean, Team Galactic had bowl cuts, and they made a worse team somehow. And then there was like Team Genesis or whatever. They were like Team Galactic but cooler. And Team Yell is just a bunch of simps for this random ass gym leader. Kill Hop. Gary was snarky. The Johto dude was like mysterious and dangerous. May is well designed. Barry was actually kind of annoying, but like Hop is like Barry Deluxe Edition, okay? Every time it cuts you off so he can interject with some stupid saying after like a critical hit, or you just hit him, or you just like he's down to his life. Like, shut up, just shut up, please. You're so annoying. Nobody wants to play with you. And then the last character is obviously you, the player. And with better graphics, obviously this is a lot more customized, which just makes sense and is honestly a good direction to take it. Sure, the little pixel sprites are nostalgic, but this is definitely a good move on their part to just give you more freedom as a player to design your character. So when it comes to Pokemon design, I'm gonna be honest, obviously this is purely opinionated, but it's totally influenced by what you grew up with and your own nostalgia. There are crappy and cool designs in each generation, and it really just boils down to what you grew up with and what you like and don't like. I didn't see anything too bizarre in Sword and Shield, and most things seem to follow suit. You got a bird, you got a fish, what more do you want? Although, the final legendary looked more like something out of Yu-Gi-Oh! Rather than Pokemon. Unique to this game, this was the first Pokemon game to introduce DLC, if you don't really count Mystery Gift before. Because this has Mystery Gift also. It's like real DLC that you paid for. Yeah, honestly, not worth $30. Sure, there's more Pokemon added, but like, you should have had the full decks anyway. Starting with the Isle of Armor, this was definitely the better of the two, but after you beat the little mini story that they give you, I mean, that's it. There's not much else to do. The characters are kind of weird. The legendary was kind of cool, I like them, but nobody wants to run around and look for Diglets everywhere. I thought the Crown Tundra was kind of a flop. It was very empty, it was very boring, which like, sure, I guess that's what a Tundra would be, but it's a video game. Come on, make it interesting. I don't even like remember any of the characters. I'm pretty sure there's just like a village of old people or something. The legendary looks unfinished. He just has this stiff, soulless eye. Like, he's basically T-posing, I feel like, in every cutscene. Again, they added new Pokemon, and the new bird forms and the Reggies were certainly cool, but like, if I paid $15 for this, just give me both Reggies. I get that's like a trope in Pokemon, you only get one or the other, but like, your game sucks already. Just give me both. Actually, Regidrago also is just T-posing. He sucks. Fuck him. Again, I still don't want to go all over the place looking for footprints. However, with the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes being announced, Game Freak has made some unique choices with the art style, but more importantly, they're making what Sword and Shield should have been with Pokemon Legends Arceus. They clearly hit up the Zelda department for a build of Breath of the Wild, but nonetheless, the backlash of Sword and Shield seemed to get them back on the right track. But hey, Just like how I opened Pokemon Diamond as a child, some little kid might get Pokemon Sword or Shield this Christmas or for their birthday or whatever, and they'll love every minute of it. And as we all know, people online handle differing opinions very tolerantly. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. I want to thank you for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.